What movie did you find so boring that you thought, it's only been 20 minutes? I'm not a napper or a sleeper, so the only movie I ever slept through was The Bad News Bears Go to Japan. Here's the review from one user from IMDb. What is going on here? Where are the bears? This is a Tony Curtis film and his character wears out after 5 minutes. There are lengthy stretches of the film where the bears barely appear, if at all, like the 15-minute karate exhibition or the 10-minute game show nonsense. And how about some subtitles for the long conversations in Japanese? Viewers outside of Japan don't need the realism of communication breakdown. For 2024, I'm trying to watch 100 movies I haven't seen before. I'm currently at 63. So far, the only movie I've given up on has been the new Hunger Games prequel, The Ballad of Songbird Snakes. I don't even think I hit 20 minutes before I noped out, which isn't common with me. I'll usually stick it out for at least 30 minutes regardless of how bad a movie is. But nothing about that movie interested me. I also thought the actors were irritating. I read and watched all the other Hunger Games books movies and really liked them. Just couldn't do it this time. I almost never watch movies, but my friend taught me into watching one of the Spider-Man movies. I don't recall exactly which one, but New York was already destroyed at the opening, maybe Homecoming. I had never seen a Marvel movie before, and it apparently assumes you were intimately familiar with the entire extended universe and 18 interconnected movies. It was the closest I've come to walking out of a theater in my life. I was simultaneously bored and confused the entire experience. I could think of a few reasons. It could mean anything though. Point 1. He's too busy with something happens to me quite a lot, cause when a guy is focusing on something, at least me, we try to not to get distracted and forget that they received a text. Even 2. Maybe he figured out you are having some kind of interest towards him and he doesn't want to continue chats cause of that. Girls do that quite a lot, right? Point 3. Or maybe he didn't see the notification at all. No battery juice maybe. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but my fair lady, don't get me wrong, I like the movie, the costumes, a few of the songs, the sets, the humor. It's all good and well. However, that movie just feels so long. The songs are placed so that it feels longer. My siblings kept looking at me like, another song? Are we even halfway done? And there's more. Come on already. It feels as long as a Lord of the Rings movie, but it's not near as entrapping. All of the Hobbit movies, having lived through the LOT trilogy during my entire high school experience, the Hobbit movies didn't need to exist, and somewhat tainted my love of the movies. I read the books and love the extended versions, but watching the Hobbit movies is like pulling teeth, because it's literally stretching one book into 3 movies that don't need to exist. Talk about beating a dead horse. Also the new Dune movie. Fuck off. Hate to say it, but the Barbie movie, my BF and I enjoyed it for oh so like halfway through we both kinda just looked at each other and were like, okay, we've watched enough, can we turn it off? There was another one I'd suggested for a date night, and I can't even remember what it was. But not too long into it, I realized my mistake and we turned it off. Sad thing was, it was the movie I suggested for my B-day. Dune. I read the novel 15 years ago, and it was okay, but not great. I fell asleep while watching the 2021 Dune film twice, and I didn't feel any regret going to the bathroom in the middle of seeing Dune in theaters with friends. It's a captivating enough story, so I have to guess there's something about how the writers-directors produce the story that just doesn't click for me. Retribution 2023 W. Liam Neeson. I'm retired 42 and my wife and I take care of my 69-year-old dad W. Parkinson's. We watch a lot of TV, and he loves Liam Neeson. The movie was absolutely horrible. Pick the ending immediately. But it's so bad and boring. I was exhausted by the time we were halfway through the 91-minute runtime. Don't torture yourself. I love you guys. Thought I was going to get blasted for saying these, but some of y'all agree. Point 1. Tenet so bad. 2. Oppenheimer needed to be shorter. I fell asleep. Point 3. Barbie movie. For Avatar Way of Water fell asleep. Point 5. Star Wars The Last Jedi. The movie was so bad. Especially the last 30 minutes. I actually walked out of the theater. Spencer. That Princess Diana movie starring Kristen Stewart. She was basically just whispering her lines while the plot went nowhere. I lasted less than half an hour. Still cannot believe how she got nominated for Best Actress Oscars and thankfully didn't win. Not saying she's a bad actress, she was simply miscast. I see Dune mentioned several times, but nobody specifies if they are talking about the original or the remake. I tried many times to watch the original Dune and I've never been able to finish it. It's a real snooze fest. The remake held my attention and I finally understood the story. The Room. I've since come around, but my in-law suggested watching it at 10 p.m. after I had been up since for AIM traveling to see them plane and driving with pit stops. I agreed it knowing what I was getting into. But holy shit, I swear I felt like I watched it for 7 hours seething. Everything Everywhere All at Once was shockingly bad to me. I'm a big kung fu fan and love martial art action films to probably my favorite genre. When this landed on Netflix, I felt so glad that I'd get to see an award-winning film. So bad I didn't finish it. First 20 was painful. The Village, that M. Night Shyamalan movie. I figured out the twist cause we know if you go to an M. Night movie you're getting some kind of twist. And then it was just super boring. It felt like a test day in college where you should get to leave early after you finish the test. Friend couldn't shut up about that stupid movie. So I watched it. After a few hours of pain I clicked on screen to see how much of that shit I've endured. Just to find it's just been half hour only. WTF. I ended my friendship with so-called friend. Star Wars Episode 8. Bear in mind, I rarely ever use the toilet during a movie. And the last time I did was when I was a kid watching Enchanted because I drank too much Coke. With this film, I left halfway to go with my mum because I was bored out of my mind. Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it wasn't that I thought it was boring, but for whatever reason it felt longer than it actually was. Every time I paused it thinking surely an hour or so is gone by, nope, just a half hour. Thought it was never going to end. Midsommar was a drag. Intentional comedy movie towards the end. Feet sticking off the ground. Florence Pugh and her sad mouth running around and finding her friends in weird-ass positions. Man, that movie was a fucking drag. Don't hate me, but Rogue One I fell asleep in a chair at my friend's place. I grew up with Star Wars and love for the majority all original movies, definitely love, and they added movies to the Skywalker saga, love you pod racing, but my god that was dull. These days most of them. I can't really sit around for most movies that are made these days. Trust me, I've seen a few that were great, but 90 of them I have no interest in even trying to watch. Kind of sucks since I used to love going to the movies. Then, it's about a boy with a murderous rat, or a murderous boy with a murderous rat. Either way, there's a rat named Ben, and I'm pretty sure he's murderous. Michael Jackson did a song HTTPS U2. DUVDUP 0HLs. CUJBQWMKSW to NKWK about it. Rebel Moon Part 1. I can't tell you anything about it. I fell asleep. Now that Part 2 is out, I don't know if I want to bother trying to watch the first one again, so I'll know what is going on, or just delete it from my queue and move on. Big Trouble with Tim Allen. It's a movie about a bunch of people who get mixed up in a plot that includes sneaking a nuke onto a hijacked plane. Coming to theaters September 18, 2001. They pushed the release date back because, you know, the new Disney movie Wish. It's the only movie I've ever fallen asleep watching in my entire life. Either at home or in theater. And this was in theater. I hate song talking in movies. I'd rather see that in a Broadway show. Wild Wild West. Lines asleep about 30 minutes in. In the theater. Woke up sometime in the latter half of it, and it hadn't improved any. So I went back to sleep, would have left. But my parents were there and were my ride. The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. I wanted to cry every time a pan out to the mountains was not the ending. That being said, I wasn't the target audience, and I was dragged along to see this. So that may have influenced. The Eternals. My wife and I both fell asleep in the theater multiple times in an hour and a half. After about the third time waking up, we both agreed we didn't care what happened to any of the characters and walked out. Honestly, Memento. People cite it as one of Christopher Nolan's classics, but it just did not land with me. I actually got to watch it again to see if it was worth a damn. Or if it was just insisting upon itself. Don't hate me. At the first time I watched Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I was high as a kite on pain meds and confused what was taking so long. Lesson for myself is not watching period dramas when I'm sick. So here's the thing. The ultimate answer is One Cut of the Dead. You also really fucking need to go watch One Cut of the Dead and power through. Just keep watching. I promise it's worth it. The Accidental Tourist. It was so goddamn boring I fell asleep every time somebody tried to make me watch it. To this day I have no idea WTF it's about or why it won awards. Total snooze fest. Glenn or Glenda. It came with the VHS for Plan 9 from Outer Space. And so we watched it first. We thought it was maybe halfway over when we realized we were only like 20 minutes in, so dull. The first of the new Dune movies. There was just so much nothing during it. Mostly camera sweeps of desert and vaguely sci-fi like exotic music. Not to mention everyone mumbled the whole movie.